Well, hello there and welcome to my workshop. Now in this series I'm building a classical style acoustic guitar, but with a difference. I do hope you'll join me. Well, hello and welcome to my workshop. Now it's first thing on a rather misty November morning, and I've dashed out into the workshop because I'm really excited, because you may remember in the last episode I did some work on the joint between the neck and the body, so I want to see if it worked. So this little piece that I glued in has all dried. I've actually put a little bit of dust and glue in just to fill some gaps that were there, and I've had to do a little bit of sanding, but now it slides in, which is really nice. The only problem with this is it's not secure enough, so this neck is either going to have to be bolted or glued on, and I haven't quite decided yet what is the best way to do that, but that's not a problem. On the positive side, we've got something coming together that looks like a guitar, so yeah, can't wait to hear this thing. Anyway, right, the binding. Now right at the beginning of this project I came up with this idea to use a bit of marquetry to create the binding around the edge, and I created this bar of dolphin, I've called it, basically with different woods giving me a shape that ran all the way through the bar, and when I cut some slices from it I ended up with little pieces that looked like that, which yeah, looked reasonable, but it wasn't quite what I wanted. So I made myself a couple of tools. This one is the flipper cutter, and this one here is the fin cutter. And what I've done, I've created the pieces again. So this is sort of the base piece. So into this I cut the fin, and that was just a question, if I get this around the right way, of scraping this scraper through the gap there to create the fin shape in the top. I routed this on my special routing jig that I made, and if you want to go back and have a look at the video, you're very welcome to. I'll put a link in the corner there. And this is the flipper scraper, and that was a question of just running that up and down in this slot there like that. So I've created a flipper, I've created the fin, and I've got the dolphin. What I've got to do now is glue them all together. What I did with this one, to create the fin and the flipper, I put some dust and glue in the grooves that I'd made, and that seemed to work okay, so that's what I'm going to do with this one. You can see that there are quite a few gaps in this, and so what I'm going to do is mix up quite a bit of dust and glue and actually just put the whole lot in to the grooves and around the edge. So I'm hoping that when I come to cut it, it will have all filled in the gaps. Right, I'm using mahogany dust for the fin and the flipper. I'm going to have to make quite a bit of it. Hopefully that should do it. Right, this is where it gets a bit messy. Right, now then, what I'm going to do now is put the dolphin in the right end, and I want the dust and glue just to squeeze out a bit. So, right, now working quite quickly, I'm going to have to put the fin on. Actually, it's not the fin, is it? It's a flipper. You need to squeeze that into to that gap there. Really push it in. Okay, just take some of the excess off there. Put it around the right way. Like so. Okay, now I need to squeeze it in the vise. Really tight. I need it to squeeze out. I can see it coming out there, it's quite good. Now we wait and see what we're going to get. I love this process because you really just don't know what you're going to get until you start cutting it into slices. Anyway, on with the next job. Something that's bothering me a little is this fretboard. I've had to thin it down to get out the twist that was in it. And I'm just a bit worried that it's not going to be strong enough or hard enough for the guitar. What I'm thinking of is actually making a laminate. So sticking this Santos rosewood underneath, putting that on the top. I'm going to have to thin them both out again, but I'm wondering if the two of them will make it stronger, especially where it goes over the body, because I think it's going to be raised off the body a little. And it just occurred to me then I could perhaps put a veneer in between, and that might create an interesting look on the side of the fretboard. I mean, normally I put binding on, but I might not need to do that if I do this. So I think I'm going to glue these up. Even if I do put binding on, it doesn't matter. I mean, it just covers up the veneer, but yeah, let's get gluing. I just think the laminate might be a little bit stiffer than just that piece of olive on its own. Right then, I want to put some sides on the boat. So I've got this piece of rosewood here, or Santos rosewood. I'm going to try and bend this to the shape and attempt to glue it on. I think this is going to be more manageable if I glue it in sections, so I'm going to do this first one. Well, with all that lot gluing, I think it's time for a cup of tea. Well, I've made a start rough shaping the heel of the neck there. So that's, I'm going to put that to one side. It's getting a bit late. I just popped out and saw the moon rising. Absolutely beautiful picture tonight. Anyway, I want to get on with the tailstop now. Here's my tailstop. Well, what did you expect, eh? So this is the end of the guitar, and this is the dolphin tail just going off. So I'm going to cut this piece, this template out, and cut it out of this soprano. Let's have a look at this sticker dolphin. I've planed it down flush at the bottom there. So I'm going to cut a couple of slices now, see what we've got. Well, look, I'll be honest, it's not exactly what I'm looking for, so I think I might have to have another go at this. Now, before I give up on this, I've just tried a bit of an experiment. The problem I've got is that I've got dark on the end here. What I've done is actually filled this with some dust and glue. And yeah, although it's not quite the right colour, it's looking a bit better. Got more of the sense of the dolphin shape there. So what I've done is I've cleared out this channel here, which is where the dolphin's nose should be. So what I'm going to do is fill that with some white wood dust and glue, and see if that gives me the sort of effect that I'm looking for. Okay, I probably have really lost the plot now, but what I'm doing, I've made myself a very thin piece of veneer which is slightly wider at the bottom to match the sort of curve of the central piece of this marquetry. And what I'm going to try and do is feed it into the slot. And it's not going to be easy. I can get it in so far and it gets stuck. Oh, it's going in, it's going in. Come on. Oh, if I could just get it in a bit more, that would be marvellous. Okay. Right. I wonder if I can feed it in through the other side. See, I've got it in over halfway here. So let's have a look. And that looks pretty good then. Okay. Let me just cut that off. See if I can get it in the other way. Just make sure I've got the thickest end at the bottom there. Something jamming it there. Managed to push it in just to there. I've got a tiny gap. but I know the end of this is not good anyway, so if I get it into the middle more, I can somehow bang it in. We're done. Magic. So now I'm going to have to use super glue. I really don't know whether this is going to work or not, but I think it's worth a go. So this is what it looks like. We just got to wait and see what it dries like. I'm wanting to use this as a binding, so it's going to be the overall effect that I'm going for rather than all the minute detail. But I mean, we're just going to have to see. Okay, it's time to stick the other piece of binding on the side of this boat. I've cut it to length, but gluing it last time was a real pain, so I've made myself a couple of little clamping cauls, and I'm going to put it in my my bench dogs here, and hopefully if I squeeze it together it should do the job. So let's get some glue on it. Now the only problem is, if I'm not careful, it's going to stick to the bench. So what I'm going to do is put some strips of masking tape down there. I've already got glue on the table, look at it. That should do the job. And use a bit of candle wax on that. Hopefully that should stop it sticking to the bench. Right, here we go. So that will go in there like so. This one will fit on the back. I have to release the pressure. Need to get that fitted right round, which of course it isn't. That's it. Right. Now, I think I'm just going to need one of these in the middle. Perhaps two even. Just to grip that on. Another job done. Time to move on. Excuse the pun, but this project hasn't been plain sailing, and the laminated fretboard that I glued up the other day didn't work. I took the clamps off too early. The workshop wasn't warm enough for the glue to have set, and it broke apart. So I've had to strip it down, sand off all the veneer that was in between the two, and I've stuck the two together without the veneer. So let's see if this has worked. Yes, it has. I'm pleased I made the decision to use a laminate here, because this olive just isn't strong enough. And it removed. That was one of the reasons why this broke apart, because there was a kink in this olive. But this is pretty straight now, and that's pretty solid wood, that Santos rosewood underneath. So I think it's going to be okay. I just need to thin these down a little, but I think I'm going to mark up the frets, cut those first. Now I decided to go for a multi-scale guitar for two reasons, neither of which are really good reasons. But the first one was I've never done one before and I fancied having a go at it. And the second one was I rather like the idea of the saddle being at an angle to go with my boat theme. So The multi-scale length on the top we've got 660 millimeters, and on the bottom we've got 640. So this is a little metal template that I've made from the measurements I did on the computer, so it is as accurate as I can make it. I'm going to stick it down on this fretboard and just mark where I need to cut. I've got some of this thin double-sided tape from one of those pound shops, and it really is tacky stuff, horrible, but if you put it on masking tape it does the job. Just don't put it on your wood because it's a bugger to get off. This needs to be accurate, so I'm going to do it with a knife. So my idea is to line the ruler up with the mark and then score a mark either side. And I'll just work down the fretboard. Come back to you when I'm done. I've got the saw depth set to 3 millimeters. One done. So the real question is, does that achieve the sort of thing that I'm after? And although it's not perfect, I think it probably does, because it does give you a sense of some sort of dolphin type creature. Yeah, it's not perfect, but I don't think I'm ever going to get it perfect. Okay, so I've run the block of dolphin through the thicknesser, and that's what I've ended up with. And just to remind you, that was the first attempt I had, so I think I've improved on the first attempt. Anyway, I'm going to put that to one side because that's a job for another day. Now it's getting close to packing up time for this video, but before I do that I wanted to try something, and that is that when I fitted the neck at the beginning of this video, I think it was, there was some leeway, there had some movement there, and I wondered if I packed the bottom of the dovetail channel there with a little bit of veneer, whether that actually would fix the problem. And I think it will. Now I've not pushed this all the way down because I want to be able to get it out again, but that is actually rock solid, and it makes me wonder whether I'd be able to get away without gluing it. Yeah, well, I spared you the pain of me getting the neck out, but you'll see there's just two very thin veneers and down at the bottom there, and I could glue these in, and I may need to sand them off a bit, but when I come to fit the neck I think I'm going to do that, and that would save me having to glue this neck in. Anyway, let's just take those out for the time being. Let's put the neck back in. Well, I think I've got lots of bits and pieces done in this video. It's all going towards the end game of getting this guitar finished, although I think it's going to take a little bit longer. Probably won't be finished until early in next year, but then these things do take a while to do, certainly. So thank you for staying with me, and I hope you enjoying this series, and thank you for your comments. It's been really brilliant. Now then, I have a bit of a special request. I'm so confident that I'm going to finish this guitar and it's going to be playable that I'm working on the full build video. Now, if you watch my channel regularly, you'll know I usually do a series of videos, and then at the end of those I put it all together in a sort of a 30-minute full build video with a music backing. And I've been working on the music for the backing. Now, at the end of the video, I want to do a demo. So over the last few weeks, I've been working on the demo music, and it's turned into a song. And I'm really quite pleased with it. I don't normally write songs, it's normally just instrumentals. This is a bit of a ballad inspired by the Dolphins and called Catch Your Breath. And I'm looking for a female and a male vocalist. I initially thought it was probably something for a female vocalist because it's quite high register, but in actual fact I think it would work as a duet. So I'm afraid there's no money in this, but if you want to appear, or your voice to appear in the full build video, which will be out next year, sometime early next year, then please get in touch with me, and you can do that via my website. So if you go into the description below, you'll see a link to my website, footstepsguitars.co.uk, and on there's a contact form. If you fill that in, send it off to me, then I can get back to you and send you the track, send you the words, and we can see if you're interested. So, female and male vocalists, if you're interested in doing this, please get in touch. This is really exciting. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Stay safe. I'll see you next time.